Presented by GhostBed.com.
What is up, guys? Welcome to the Drinkin' Bros Sports Baseball Show, episode number 14. My name is Rob Fox, and I am joined always by Dan Hollaway. His chair's being kind of a dick right now. He'll be down in it in a second. But we're watching a live watch on the Padres and Rockies today because it's a fucking Wednesday. We don't have anything else to do, so let's watch some baseball and have a couple drinks and shit.
Yeah.
So why the fuck not? Also, it's a good game, you know. I mean, the Rockies are pretty dog shit, but Musgrove's on the mound. Tatis just hit a home run. It's pretty good day game viewing, all things considered, I feel like.
I mean, there's nothing better than being in San Diego watching a baseball game in the middle of the day. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's definitely on, like, I don't have, like, a bucket list. Like, I don't need to, like, spend a summer going to every fucking stadium or anything like that. But that, if I had to, like, narrow it down to 10, that would make the cut.
Yeah, San Diego's nice. I mean, it's down in Gaslamp, so if you stay in any of those hotels down there, you can pretty much walk to the baseball stadium.
It's like a whole bar district and shit.
Yeah.
That's what I'm kind of hyped about for the MLS stadium here, even though they haven't opened it yet, is it's not downtown, but it's in a bar area, right? Like you can go to the game and go get fucked up before or afterwards at the Domain. Not the coolest bar area, but it's a big, you know, there's like 30 bars to walk to.
Right.
Which is ideal, I feel like, for that type of sport. Musgrove just
stop trying to make the Domain cool.
You're not a fucking suburban dad like me. That's my shit.
No.
I like you don't like big box bars?
No.
Oh.
What is a big box bar? I don't know what that means.
It's just like chains, just chain bars.
Oh, I see.
You know?
Yeah, I don't know. The Domain is like a poor man fucking version of Texas Live almost. It's not that great.
We don't need another Irish bar named McGinty's.
Texas Live is the bar and restaurant thing between all the stadiums in Dallas.
Oh, out in Arlington?
Yeah.
That's the new thing now. They call it the Mall Park. St. Louis has it. It's called Ballpark Village. I fucking hate Ballpark Village.
Philly has Xfinity Live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's right next to the stadiums.
No city likes any of those bar combination ballparks.
I like getting shit-faced in a real mall because it's funny to me. Like just getting blackout
This is
drunk.
just 2 hours before and after the game, which you have to pay $20 a beer for.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's still better than downtown Houston, like we were Saturday.
Well, that was miserable.
Right, and that's where Minute Maid Park is, and there's no fucking bars around Minute Maid Park. Like, absolutely nothing to do there. Good barbecue place right behind it called Jackson Street Barbecue. It's actually one of my favorite Texas barbecue spots. But otherwise, jack shit. I mean, if you want to get drunk at a Marriott, you can get drunk at a Marriott. But and then I heard, have you been to Truist yet?
No, not.
I have heard the Battery is pretty dope. But
I'm sure it is. Yeah, and Atlanta's always done pretty well with that stuff.
But also, the Battery's almost like it's further. It's kind of more separated from Atlanta than the Domain is from Austin.
Yeah.
So it's kind of more like that's like a Cobb County hangout. Like it's like a county overs, like downtown fun bar area. And then if you're up at the game, you're like, all right, fuck it. Like let's just get drunk here instead of making our way to Buck. What the fuck is it called in Atlanta? Buck something?
Shit.
Buckhead, yeah.
Yeah. It's like might as well just stay out here and get drunk instead of like hoofing it back to Buckhead and sobering up in a 30-minute Uber or whatever. So fuck it. But we're going into the bottom of the fifth. I'm sorry. We're going to the bottom of the fifth. The Padres are at bat. Dan, have you observed anything so far from this game?
Not really. I mean, obviously Tatis is the man. Hopefully Machado gets AIDS or fucking mouth cancer or something.
Well, let's get into that because that's kind of the biggest story. There's two stories going right now, and it's both. It never fucking goes away. It's all unwritten rules bullshit week after week. The first part of that two-parter is Machado's slide against the Cardinals to, I guess, break up a double play.
Yeah, which technically you can do whatever it is you want within the baseline to avoid getting tagged or whatever else, right? Obviously, you can't do anything that's intentional to dislodge the ball from a fielder. But if a fielder is standing in the baseline trying to catch a pop-up, you can run his ass over.
Yeah, you have the right of
Yeah,
way in the
you can
base
do whatever
path.
the fuck you want. Now, the guy had the ball. He's a dead out. So the easiest way to avoid the double play is to stand there.
Make him come to you.
Yeah, you don't have to go in and throw your spikes at his fucking shins, which is what Machado did, because Machado is the biggest piece of shit in all of Major League Baseball.
Do you kind of at least get like any appreciation out of it just for being like adding to the entertainment factor where they're all not bros? Like people would actually want to throw at Machado?
No, I don't find it quaint or cute or any of those things or entertaining, and it's certainly not purist. Unless you're talking about Ty Cobb, I guess, for a guy to be out on the field trying to literally injure people, and that's what Machado does.
Yeah.
He had a home run off a pitcher one time. I don't remember who it was. And the guy struck him out the next time. He got mad that Machado was talking shit, and he hit him later on, and he came up to bat again. And on the first pitch, Machado waited for the ball to get past him and then tried to fling the bat out to the pitcher's mound, but he threw it out to third base instead. Right? He was literally trying to throw his bat at the pitcher. He stepped on guys' ankles, causing injuries at first base a number of times. He shortened Dustin Pedroia's career, and as you pointed out yesterday, probably cost him a Hall of Fame ballot.
Yeah.
Or a Hall of Fame induction. He is the Ndamukong Suh of baseball. He is the biggest piece of shit in baseball.
I would agree with that.
Well, I mean, the data speaks for itself.
Yeah.
There's nobody out there there's nobody else in baseball. No one that has a reputation of trying to hurt other players.
It's what's funny to me too is that if you polled a lot of writers and shit about who the biggest asshole in baseball was, you know, he'd probably get.
Maybe Bryce Harper. I don't know.
I would guess Trevor Bauer.
Maybe, yeah, or Joe Kelly. If you,
I think they
year.
like Joe Kelly. Like I think Joe Kelly's.
I just don't think he's good enough to have that kind of attitude.
Who, Machado?
No,
Oh, Joe Kelly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he used to. I mean, he used to be. It's like more like he's a reliever, so he only has like 3 years of like relative usefulness in general. So yeah, I agree with that. As opposed to like Harper or Bauer or someone like that who plays a more premium position. But I would guess it was Bauer, and it's funny to me that like no one would disagree that Machado's an asshole, but for whatever reason, like Bauer's Twitter would be the first thing that comes to mind over Machado like stabbing people with his foot.
I think I can't imagine a lot of baseball players spend a lot of time on Twitter.
No, I meant writers.
I mean, who cares what writers think? They're a bunch of fucking losers. People who've never done the thing.
Yeah.
Anybody that's never done it that is critical of people that are doing it is a fucking joke to me. Like when I watch
Not analytical, critical.
No, critical. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I watch like Get Up, not Get Up. Get Up is one of the best shows. Anytime First Take and Get Up are on, I switch to Get Up.
Yeah.
Because First Take is unwatchable. But even on First Take, you hear Stephen A. Smith, and you hear, excuse me, Max Kellerman, who's the biggest cunt in all of sports, running their fucking suck holes. And neither one of these guys has ever been in a real athletic competition in their life.
Right.
You know what I mean? But when they have got like actual ball play, like Perkins comes on a lot, Swaggo comes on a lot, Ryan Clark comes in there a lot. There's a lot of dudes that were actual legit ball players from baseball and basketball and football that show up on that show a lot. Those guys can say whatever the fuck they want. If Dr. J wants to put together his all-time team and that might hurt somebody's feelings, that's fine. If Max Kellerman put together an all-time team, I don't know why anybody would care.
Yeah.
Because he's a fucking loser.
Well, and especially because he doesn't like he watches it, but he does. I would be interested in someone like with a deep knowledge of the game who didn't play it. I'd be interested in that. Like I guess the equivalent of like a Fangraphs or Baseball Prospectus writer giving me some info versus like a guy who's just paid to like shout on TV.
I mean, for me, it's kind of like a business professor. Like, what the fuck kind of job is that? If you were smart enough to teach, if you were smart enough to know that much to be a subject matter expert in starting and running businesses, you should go start and run businesses. And that's how people should learn. People should not learn how to start and run businesses in a fucking university. They should learn it from people who have started and run businesses.
Are you kind of good at business though? If you realize it's much easier to cash free paychecks from a university than it is to try and fail over and over again out in the world.
It is easier to be a serial entrepreneur than it is to get tenure at a major university.
Are you still getting a pretty good paycheck pre-tenure, right?
You have a paycheck, but if anybody fucking gets butthurt about anything you say, you get fired, and they don't have to give you any cause. It's right to work, right? Until you get tenure, it's right to work in college.
I thought you just had to be there 10 years.
No.
Yeah, it's 10.
Some people
it's
get
10 year.
No, that's stupid. Nope.
So wait, how would you have responded to that Machado situation? Because like if you were the Cardinals, because I don't really think they did anything.
I'd hit him in the head.
Like right there, just like fuck you.
No. Well, I mean, look, honestly, whomever the fielder was it?
Who does DeJong usually play second base for the Cardinals? I think.
Well, he switches between second and short. Yeah.
I also there might have. There's usually not much of a shift on when there's a guy on first.
I don't know who it was, but whomever it was should have. Since they weren't able to throw the ball to first, they should have stubbed and threw it and hit him right in the fucking face. Manny Machado doesn't deserve to be playing baseball. If you have that much disrespect for the game that you're going to intentionally injure other players to get them out of the game, or because you're butthurt, or because you think that equates to playing hard, then you're a piece of shit and you got to go.
It was Tommy Edman. Tommy Edman was playing second base. And then the other half of the unwritten rule shit, by the way, the fifth inning just ended. Padres didn't get anything going. Got a man on first, but then Musgrove, because the pitcher still fucking bats for some reason, popped out, almost snuck in a little.
Only this year, though, right? Isn't the DH universal next year?
It is not official. They just think that's what's going to happen because they all have to come to the table this offseason.
Right.
This is like a big offseason for the union and league together or whatever. And if you were the players union, since pitchers are a part of the players union, I don't know what fucking pitcher in their right mind at this point would be like, yeah, put me at the plate, please.
I mean, it's not helping anybody. The best case scenario is that you hit like 220.
Right. Well, it's basically, there's probably two dudes. It's probably Zach Greinke being like, yes, I want to hit. And then Madison Bumgarner being like, hell yeah, I won't swing that lumber. And then the rest of them are like, just shut up, you fucking weirdos.
Yeah, Huascar Noah probably wouldn't have minded hitting, but now he can't close his fist.
Yeah.
He should have watched Bull Durham. We got to get that thing dubbed over into Spanish. So these guys know, you don't ever punch a dumb drunk in the face with your throwing hand.
Right. Really, it just needs to be updated because you're not going to be very useful with a broken left hand sitting in your glove either. I guess it could be just like taped to shit and then what do you give
if you're a pitcher and you weren't batting, I don't think that would make that much of a difference, to be honest.
You might want to try bunting to the pitcher a lot. Right?
Maybe, but he can pick that ball up with his hands.
Yeah, he still has
hands.
To do it though. I mean, if I knew the pitcher had a broken glove hand, I would be absolutely bunting at that pitcher and be like, make the play.
I'd be trying to shake his hand.
We teach every MLB player to low leg kick.
Low leg kick?
Yeah, saves their hands.
Oh, that's not a bad idea. Yeah. Although the legs.
Spring training next year is all UFC cross training.
So what do they like? Kick the cooler now instead of fucking punch it?
Yeah.
They just like kick shit when they're mad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like a suburban dad, not like a poor dad. Poor dad punches the wall. Suburban dad kicks stuff.
Yeah. You guys were talking about masculinity the other day on what APP?
Yeah.
Right. There was a funny meme I meant to bring up to you during that. This is related to the punching drywall shit. It was like millennial men are just as angry and toxic as boomers, but when boomers punch the drywall, they could fix it.
Yeah. I like that. Yeah, I mean, it's Jeff Francoeur said on the Braves broadcast a couple of days ago that what you do is you hit a cooler with a baseball bat.
Right.
Because that doesn't do anything.
Right.
That's like it's basically like a Nerf situation.
Yeah.
Like you can't hurt the cooler because it's so flexible and plastic. And a bat, who cares? It's like $50.
Right.
But he said he would also fuck up helmets. Like the helmet was $150 and he would just take a helmet into the tunnel and just beat it to pieces.
Yeah.
Which again is a victimless crime.
It also sounds more fun and like more relieving. Like I would much rather hit something with a bat to relieve stress than hit something with my fucking hand.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you can put a lot more force into. I mean, as mad as you might be, you're still pulling back a little bit if you're punching something with your hand and it's hard.
Yeah.
Like if you're punching a wall or something. If you're swinging a baseball bat, I don't remember who it was. fuck, who was it? Somebody in the 80s.
Tupac Shakur?
No. Somebody in the 80s would completely, over the course of a game, if they were in a slump or something, destroy a Coke machine. So they would go into the tunnel with a screwdriver and a bat, right?
Okay.
Unscrew a few things, beat the fuck out of the thing until stuff fell off, unscrew a few more things, go back out and hit, come back in, beat the fuck out of the thing, unscrew some shit, over and over until that machine was destroyed.
I like that.
That's a serial killer.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
That amount of
you,
attention?
that's like you come to the basement every couple of hours to cut off another finger type of situation. Also, the nice thing about that is like using a screwdriver when you're angry makes you angrier because you're not as precise because you're just angry as shit. So it's going to slip out and it's going to make you want to murder the shit out of it.
But it also might calm you down. Like having to slow yourself down and put in the effort to concentrate on that probably brings you back to reality a little bit, you would think.
You think, yeah, that makes
But
sense.
who knows?
We're in the top of the sixth now. Musgrove 3-2 to Nunez, the Rockies 8-hitter. Oh, fucking struck him out. That was actually a pretty interesting. Looked like a slider or a change way inside, and Nunez just swung over the fucking top of it. Where do you have Musgrove? That was definitely a slider. Where do you have Musgrove kind of ranking in the NL pitchers right now? Because you got a 2.63 ERA, so I mean he's up there.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, he's a excuse me. He's really over the last couple of years, I would say since the middle of 2019, really shown himself to be a pretty good fucking pitcher.
Yeah.
He doesn't walk a lot of people. That's what I like about him.
Yeah.
Even in
Also has 10 strikeouts right now.
yeah. I mean, he's throwing a lot of pitches today, so he probably won't go too deep. But he doesn't walk many people.
He's at 77 with 2 outs now in the sixth. I mean, he's
that's not bad.
He's gonna go. Unless the
7.
Padres are just like, fuck it. I mean, it's 1-0.
He'll go 7 or 8 probably. Yeah, but in 2019, 31 starts. ERA wasn't great. It was 4.44, but he only walked 39 people in 170 innings. You know what I mean?
Which is obscene.
Throws strikes. Doesn't strike out a lot of guys until really, I would say he didn't really start getting huge strikeout numbers until probably this year.
Last year. Well, if you want to count last year.
Yeah, if you count last year, especially down the stretch last year, he had an incredible run last year. But it's maybe that shortened season helped him pick up a few things because that was the turn for him. It was the first year in his career that he had a sub-4 ERA.
Yeah.
And he was even better in the second half and struck out more than a batter in an inning for the first time in his career. Still kept the walks relatively low. He walked more last year than he did this year, but he's issuing a walk like once every 4 innings, so 1.1 walks or 2.1 walks a game, maybe something like that. Mm-hmm. Not bad. Whip is down at 0.95 this year. As far as where I would rank him right now, power rankings wise, that question's a lot easier or harder to answer with DeGrom out right now because if he was there, he would be the obvious first.
Scherzer's kind of back. Scherzer's kind of found his groove again after kind of like a iffy. I mean, in 2020, kind of whatever.
Scherzer looks good. I mean, I guess it depends on what you mean, because John Means, the guy from Baltimore that threw that no hitter a week and a half ago or so, that wasn't a single case. He was. He got a 1.20 ERA this year.
Yeah.
He's playing very well. Garrett Cole looks great. I would say I would put him in the top 10 right now because of his performance, but putting him top 5, probably not until he does it for 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So one thing I have a question about with Musgrove that I think would be interesting to have you answer because you're a pitcher. His, K to 9 jumped up from 2019 to 2020, and then now basically he's floating around 8, right, in K9 from the beginning of his career to 2019. The beginning of his career, he flipped between starter and reliever. Yeah. Also, I think he was intended to be a starter the whole time, but he kind of got like the Astros were like, we don't have room for you, so let's just use you where we can.
That's really dumb, by the way. I hate when baseball teams introduce their young starters into Major League Baseball as middle relievers. I think it's terrible for their career. It gets them completely like you want to focus on what your core competency is.
So you don't like reps if it's not the right type of rep.
No, dude, it doesn't help you. Look at the difference between when closers are made starters or starters are made closers. Almost always they fail because it's not about the ability or even the pitch selection. It's about the mindset.
Right. You mean this on a regular basis.
Yeah.
It's one thing if, say, like, you've got Wainwright in 06 filling the closer role because the Cardinals didn't have anyone else and he's a rookie. They know he's going to be in the rotation eventually. Or, say, both Bumgarner.
Closer's different, by the way. I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem sending out a young prospect to be a closer because you can test his mettle. There's a lot of good things about that. Having a guy like the way in 2019 and even in 2020, the way they would have used these guys had it been a normal season and people didn't get hurt and shit. Ian Anderson and fucking Huascar Noah and what's his name? Who's the other young Brace? Wright.
Bryce Wilson and Kyle Wright.
Kyle Wright and Bryce Wilson. Those guys, had it not been for 2020 and the weirdness and all the injuries, would not have been getting starts. They would have been fucking mop up and middle relievers for the most part, and I think it would have fucked them up. I think it fucks up your mindset. You have to you take somebody's core competency at the earliest stage in their career, preferably before they ever get to the majors, but certainly once they get to the majors and start facing the top level competition they're ever going to face, and you get them used to doing the thing that you need them to do forever, right? It doesn't make any sense. Like if you brought in a new basketball player to your team, and he's a fucking a forward, and you try to make him a point guard for a year because you don't have a point guard, but he handles the ball okay, you're fucking his career up.
Yeah.
He's creating bad habits. I think it's a mistake, the way they fucking bring pitchers up these days. I also think the pitch count regulations are a massive mistake. There's no correlation between pitches thrown and injuries, right? Appearances, yes. Pitches thrown, no.
Yeah.
So Johnny Venters is a warning sign.
Well, that's
you
a
throw
reliever.
back-to-back 70 appearance games, and it's the number of pitches you throw in one game doesn't fuck you up.
But relievers, though, are used differently, obviously. But I mean, like, relievers are treated like pack horses. You just work it till it dies, and you get another dumpy hobo horse.
For sure, yeah, that's part of it. And you run through there's a lot of turnover there. But the other problem is the guy's learning bad physiological habits.
Right.
Like the way his brain and body gets ready to go out there and perform at the highest possible level is now completely chaotic. The starting pitcher's job is not chaotic. He fucking pitches on day one.
It's management.
Yeah. Day 2, he takes off. Day 3, he long tosses. Day 4, he throws a bullpen. Day 5, he takes off. Day 6, he usually comes back and pitch on 5 days rest. Sometimes you take one of those sections out. He always throws the bullpen, so sometimes you get you take the day off, throw a bullpen, and skip the long toss. Sometimes you reverse it depending on how the guy's doing, if you don't want to get him out of a groove or whatever. But
Plus off days.
yeah.
For the whole team, I mean.
But it's a rigorous schedule always, and it's always the same.
Yeah.
Right? If you take that away from a kid that's still developing physically, then whatever fucking muscles and tendons and motor skills and muscle memory he needs to develop to make sure at that very young age he's training his body the best to respond in that specific situation for the next 15 to 20 years. And you take that away from him, he's fucked. That's what I think.
Do you think the pitch count thing is partly, though, in response to it's in a lot of ways, if they're not in the professionals, whether it's the minor leagues or the major leagues, the opposite happens. They get worked to shit by their high school and college teams.
Right.
Right? Like you got like a college baseball team doesn't necessarily have a 5-man rotation.
No, it's usually a 3-man rotation.
Yeah,
because they only play 2 games a week typically. It's Friday.
No, they
it's
play a whole
Friday,
3-game series.
Well, most of the time, yeah, but
Yeah.
Usually it's, well, not all the time, but yeah, most of the time it's either 2 or 3 games. So they have a 3-man rotation. It's usually Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Thursday, Friday, Saturday, something like that. Just depends, but they're not. And you want to be the guy pitching on Sunday.
Yeah, that's
your
you're the
number
big
one
boy
starter
on Sunday.
typically. Yeah.
Speaking of which, your favorite guy's up here.
Yeah, Machado. I hope he gets hit right in the face. Good pitch.
Nice little
That's a cutter. Yeah.
yeah, strike down and in. A little middle, but
I like that cutter. I like the cutter to right-handed batters that starts in off the plate and comes back in. because it really sets up. I've seen this a lot more this season than I have in the past. That pitch right
Threw
there.
it again.
No, that cutter backed up a little bit.
Yeah.
But I've seen a lot of right-handers throwing low and inside changeups to right-handed batters, particularly the running one. I think it's a really good pitch. It's something that Maddox didn't like to throw back in the day because he thought that. See there. Well,
There you
that was a sinker, but.
It was the sinker right over the middle, too.
Yeah, that was a bad pitch. Maddox wouldn't throw it because if you miss, usually you miss over the plate and not in with the changeup because you're throwing it to the inside corner and you want it to break off the plate. But if you pull it too much, the result of pulling it is that it doesn't break back to the right, but the other result is that you pulled it and it goes further towards the middle of the plate. So he threw his changeup off the plate outside to the right, to right-handed batters. This year I'm seeing a lot more change-ups, righty on righty. You don't see that much. And I think that inside cutter really sets that pitch up well. Now, that was a change-up right there. That was a really good pitch.
Yeah, he's at a couple nice spots here. I actually don't think the second pitch to Machado, I don't necessarily know that was a mistake. I think he wanted to kind of throw a bad one even further in to get Machado to – that looked like a pitch he wanted him to chase, even though, like Maddox would say, why the fuck would you waste a pitch that early in the count?
Well, Maddox coined the phrase purpose pitch because everybody used to say waste pitch. And he started saying purpose pitch, which is a lot better. I mean, yeah, technically, if you've got a guy down 0-2 and he just swung and missed at a ball in the dirt, you really want to throw a fastball somewhere between his nipples and his eyeballs, right?
Yeah.
Just to get his eye level back up here. So if you throw something that might be gone.
That is going to hit that short porch maybe.
Gone.
Oh, off the wall.
Oh, shit. Whoa, that was a terrible play. Is
gonna
it
be a
Charlie
triple.
Blackmon?
Yeah.
That might be a home run.
That's Blackmon. Oh.
Go, goddammit.
Boo. Dude, he got to that. Wait, is he going?
Go!
Inside the park.
Holy
home run.
shit.
Because Charlie Blackmon doesn't know how to play fucking baseball.
That
what the hell was that shit?
That was a fucking little league. That was a third grade home run.
And if you're betting with us at home, Dan Register had the inside the park home run at 50-1 odds on my bookie.
That's not true. I just got excited. I've never seen an inside the parker live.
Look at this.
Didn't Prince Fielder hit an inside the park home run, or was it just a triple?
I'll have to fact check that.
Prince Harry did.
No, Prince Harry is whipped.
Look at this. Watch how bad this defense by Blackmon is. First off, a total misread off the fucking wall. Like he doesn't. Why go that close to the wall if you know you're not going to jump for it?
Yeah, that should have been an out, by the way.
Yeah. And then here's the worst part. So he gets to third, and then he realizes that Blackmon still hasn't picked up the ball because him and the other dude are kind of diddling around, being like, "Oh fuck."
Yeah, where was the center fielder and all that?
He was I don't know where.
Your job is so if you're a center fielder.
Here's Tatis now, by the way.
Terrible pitch. If you're a center fielder, or if you're an outfielder at all, and the ball's hit over the head of the person to your right or left, wherever it happens to be, your job is to get about 14 to 18 feet behind them from the wall. So if they're 4 or 5 feet off the wall waiting for the ricochet, you get 14 to 18 feet behind them. Mm-hmm. And then if they make a clean play on it,
wow,
nice.
Tatis just smoked a fucking double.
Yeah, 85 mile per hour. That's why people don't like to throw that change up inside, because if it gets up around the knees or higher, it's that every time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's you're supposed to be 14 to 18 feet behind the other fielder in case the ball does that. I don't know I don't know what the fuck that guy was doing.
By the way, did you notice this? I don't know if you noticed this in the batting order. Tatis is fourth, Machado's second.
Yeah.
I've got Cronenworth in between them right now.
I think that's a good plan, to be honest. I mean, Tatis and Machado are similar hitters. They hit the same type of stuff, and if you can make somebody make a decision to go up against Cronenworth, who, by the way, is hitting 307 this year.
Yeah.
He's having a really good season.
A little higher now, probably.
Tatis is
maybe.
the far superior dancer, I believe. Especially celebratory.
Tatis is far superior at everything except for defense. Like, he's a better hitter. He's a better base runner. Machado's better in defense.
Not really good at keeping the helmet on while running.
No, it's because of all the dreads.
Keeping your helmet on now is fucking stupid. You ain't shit if your helmet stays on while you run.
Yeah.
Don't do it in baseball. Don't do it while having sex.
Now,
Yep.
Eric Hosmer, what's he looking for right here? There's 2 outs, right? So you just need a base hit to get this guy in.
This is the type of thing I think Eric Hosmer is a
He's a professional hitter,
yes,
right? He's a good situational
That's a
hitter.
cheese dick saying, but I don't know. Yeah, it's the best way to put it. Like he locks in on this type of shit, and this is where he does his best work. He's the type of guy. He's like Dansby Swanson, where or Yadier Molina, where innings 1 through 6, I'm not necessarily scared of him, but like the 7th inning on, it's like this is not a guy you want up against you in a fucking situation where you are trying to close out a game. Or
Yeah. Oof, he missed that one. That's a bad miss too, because that pitch was perfect.
Yeah, no, I mean he's not, he's no Hall of Famer. He's not even a perpetual All-Star, but like he just knows what the fuck he's doing at the plate. But I mean he has holes for sure.
Yeah, well, I mean, so in 2019 he had 265, right? Mm-hmm. With runners on base, 285. Runners in scoring position, 328. Bases loaded, 375. So much better. With he had 373 with runners on scoring position and 2 out last in 2019 his last full season. So he's definitely that kind of guy that locks in. I think that's just a level of professionalism. You can turn it on when you need to. The truly great people though, they don't skip any at bats.
Right.
Ever. Maybe it's not like that. Maybe 8 out of 10 they're truly locked in.
Yeah.
Or something like that. And even then, they still only.
Do you think it's the type of thing? I think the best way to maybe put this for a lot of people who are didn't play sports or aren't like amazing sports or anything, it's kind of thing where you get like how creatives are better when they're behind. You know what I mean? Like if they're better at when there's a deadline and it's like due tomorrow or that type of shit.
I think some people need the sense of urgency to be successful. I mean, there's that the old trope about closers in baseball. You bring them in with a 3-run lead and they're lights out. You bring them in with a 4-run lead and they'll fuck it up every single time because the pressure's not on. They need that stimulation. That's what makes.
Look at this.
They
need to show
where the
what
fucking center
happened.
fielder
Like
was.
look at. They showed it for a split second on the Blackmon play. It was either an infielder who had come out. I didn't catch who it was, or it was the center fielder, and they were both standing over the ball like, "Oh fuck, man, that sucked."
Yeah.
And then the dude looked out. Fucking Cronenworth looked out and was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" And then started running. Like Cronenworth stopped at third base, looked out, and was like, "LOL."
And he still made it home without a throw.
Yeah.
Which is, not great. And it's too bad, too, because what's his nuts? Chichi Gonzalez is having a pretty good game today.
Yeah, he's gotten fucked. He let up a solo shot.
Yeah.
And a inside the Parker that was only half. I mean, that should have been a double or an out.
It should have been an out, to be honest. Charlie Blackmon just had to look up and put his glove up there to catch the ball. And by the way, he used to play center field in Colorado, which is one of the more expansive center fields in baseball.
Huge.
How can you not make that fucking play?
That was pretty fucking
To me,
bad.
it seemed like he wasn't paying attention there. But you never know. Maybe he didn't see it well in the lights or the sun, rather. Who knows?
I mean, not to not to sound like one of those dudes from Major League in the outfield for the Indians.
Too high.
Too high. Too bright.
That was
Looks bright on the screen.
That was Randy Quaid, by the way, that said too high.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Oh, man. One of America's finest. I want to get back to something earlier. The other half of the unwritten rules shit that we've been talking about that's been going on this week with Tony LaRussa getting mad at his guy, Yerman Mercedes, for hitting a 3-0 ball that I believe was thrown like 50 miles an hour, just a donkey shit looping curveball from a position player on the mound. He was mad at him for swinging at 3-0.
I don't care about any of that.
Yeah.
I don't care about Jordan got in trouble one time in '94 when he stole third base with a 5 or 6 run lead or something.
In the minors?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they were like, we don't do that. He goes, if somebody gives you a layup, you fucking take it. And to be honest, as much as contentious as contract negotiations are in Major League Baseball, and with as much stuff that can go wrong, if I can add some stats, why the fuck would I not do that?
That's the biggest thing. Is like that's when you should be letting your guys fucking rip it.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
at the end of the day, at the end of the year, during the winter meetings, teams aren't sitting around looking at highlight films of their players deciding who to bring back. They're looking at numbers.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm putting the numbers up when I can.
He needs that home run.
Yeah.
For sure. Because
especially a rookie.
Yeah, an old rookie too. He's like
it's
28.
27, yeah.
Something like, yeah. Musgrove's back in for the top of the 7th. Only at 83 pitches. I mean, fuck, dude. If he is an efficient 7th, they might take him 8. The Padres have a good bullpen, and with Melanson and the other guys and everything. But like, why wouldn't they? You save your bullpen if you can. Fuck, oh wow, didn't get called.
That was a nasty. What is that? A splitter or a changeup? Does he throw a splitter?
I don't know, but it was 81 miles an hour, and it broke in.
He throws a circle change. That's his normal grip. Yeah, that was a good pitch.
He's one of the few guys on the Rockies you don't fuck around with, and the Story just
if you get the ball up around thigh high, even if it's off the plate outside like that, all you got to do is reach out and poke it.
Yeah. Trevor Story knows what he's doing. Poked one into right field there for a base hit. Not a bad pitch. Not a bad pitch at all.
Now it was a two-seam cutter
off the plate.
Off the plate outside, but it looked like he was looking for something out there. Yeah, but you can see the key to being a great hitter on that at bat right there. He took 2 close pitches because he took you can read into these people now.
Here comes Blackmon, by the way, up to the plate.
Maybe he'll make it up.
Yeah.
You take those close pitches because that's not what you're looking for. And if they're strikes, then you got to get defensive. If they're not like that, you can fucking still start guessing. And that's what's been the biggest. No, that was a terrible swing.
Blackmon just putting on a fucking clinic here.
Yeah, on how to fucking get your team out of a ball game. That's been the big turnaround for Austin Riley this year. He looks like a completely different player right now than he did previously.
Which by the way, we slightly predicted. We said Chipper was brought in to work with Riley.
Yeah. He's made Austin Riley's got great bat speed and really good hand-eye coordination. So it was just selectivity that he was missing. He'd swung at everything.
Yeah.
Or he would swing at everything so much that he would get frustrated at swinging at balls and start taking strikes.
Yeah.
That were good pitches. And you just get in your own head like that. Whatever it was, it seems to have been fixed at least so far this year, 2 months in. We'll see if it continues. If he goes into July and he's still hovering around 300 like this, then I think he's got it figured out, which is, we didn't expect anything out of that position except for really good defense, to be honest.
Yeah. No, I would have if you had told me Riley was going to hit 250 and 23 home runs, I would have been like, all right, cool. I'm down with that.
Yeah.
For his sophomore campaign. Fuck it. Musgrove's gotten 2 flyouts back to back here. He's only at 88 pitches with 2 outs in the 7th. What are you seeing from Musgrove right now, like this late in the game?
I'm seeing good movement on every pitch, actually. Nothing is particularly fast, but nothing is straight either.
Yeah.
Even that hit Story got, only because he was sitting on a fastball out over the plate, and he just fucking flung his bat out there and poked it. He didn't put a great swing on it. He just poked it out there.
Should be noted that Story's hit was the 2nd hit of the game for the Rockies.
Yeah, for sure.
And by the way, the Padres, to your point about Gonzalez earlier, they only have 4 hits.
Yeah. He seems to be one of those guys, by the way, that doesn't get a lot of run support. And that's, if you're the Colorado Rockies, you can't build a rotation that's going to be great in Colorado because it doesn't exist, man. You can't get spin rate on the baseball there. So you're only going to be as good as your pitch location is. And even then, dudes are going to fucking put some balls into the corners, into the gaps, and over the fence that wouldn't be anywhere else. It just is what it is. So you should expect a team ERA of probably somewhere around 4.3.
Yeah.
Which means you're getting up 4.3 runs a game, which means you need to average 5 runs a game. And they've not been doing that. The last couple of years, they've struggled, actually. And in the West, which is super competitive, they have no chance of winning games.
Honestly, if you're the fucking Rockies right now.
Especially now that fucking Nolan Arenado's gone. That's it.
Well, that's the main Rocky fan complaint I saw in the offseason and at the beginning of the season is, it's actually the same that the Cubs have, is just commit. Commit to tearing it down.
Yeah.
Like, why keep Story and Blackmon if we're not going to compete? Like, the Padres and Dodgers are too fucking good. Why would we want to be mediocre?
I don't know. I don't know why teams hang on to shit like that, to be honest.
Yeah.
I honestly don't get it.
If I was a baseball team, what I would
Who
do...
the fuck is that?
I don't know. Who is that guy?
Who's broadcast? Is this the Padres or the Rockies broadcast?
This is All I see is the Bally logo. I don't know whose it is.
Good pitch right there.
What I would do if, like, my number one goal if I was a baseball team would be obviously to win. My number two goal being realistic, knowing that sometimes you've got to be awful now to win, like 3-4 years from now or whatever.
Right.
Would be to have fans debate. I don't know, man. What is more fun, like when we're fucking good or when we're terrible, and the ballpark's like a minor league stadium? Like the beer prices cost, only 3/4 as much, and every night's ridiculous because ownership knows.
Yeah.
Right? Like that should be something your fans should be saying if they're realistic enough to know that, like, unless you are the Dodgers or the Yankees or the Red Sox or something like that, you're just not going to fucking win. Or you're weird like the A's or Rays, where you just have a bunch of, like, savants in your front office.
Right. I mean, I think that's kind of what they need, though. They need St. Louis in the 80s built a team that worked on that fucking field. They had turf, which was really fast.
Pete Rose was talking about that when we interviewed him a couple weeks ago.
They built that. Well, Pete and I have talked about it before, like 2 or 3 years ago, actually, about how they custom built that stadium to have Willie McGee and Ozzie Smith and fucking all those guys.
Vince Coleman
that are fucking, I mean, each one of those guys, Ozzie less so, maybe 25, 30 steals a year. But Vince Coleman had like fucking, 4 years in a row of 100 steals or some shit like that?
Ozzie actually, a couple years put up some
he
was
in the 50s and 60s, yeah.
Yeah.
For
I
sure.
want to say, let me look, because he had some funny wins above replacement years where it was all defense and steals. He put up 87, which they made the World Series, lost the Twins, 43, 88, 57. And then he put up 43 again in 92. And then the otherwise, and 57 with the Padres in 1980. But yeah, otherwise he was sitting in the 30s for the most part.
Right.
I mean, Ozzie Smith has fucking 580 steals.
That's a lot.
Yeah, he's in the 500 club for something.
There's not a whole lot of people that have done that. So the park factor, going back to that. So I'll finish that part first. So the Cardinals organization built that team fast because they knew that the field played fast. They had really good defensive players, and they had pitch-to-contact pitchers, and they just let that work itself out. Right?
Elite, not to mention
probably one of the best defenses ever assembled,
including at first base.
Yeah,
Keith Hernandez
was great. Yeah. And they did some other, obviously, maybe less than ethical tricks, like raising the dirt a little bit under the turf near the foul lines, just like a little bit, so the fucking balls would stay in play. In Colorado, though, nobody's really been able to figure it out. Every year since 2009, and then many years before that as well, they've been either first or second in park factor, which means more runs get scored there regardless of who's playing against whom. Whether it's home team or visiting runs, they were either first or second in park factor since every year, including this year, since 2009. And 2008 was an outlier where they were third. And then before that. So how do you handle that? Is there a certain type? It's surprising to me that nobody's identified a certain type of pitcher that should have great success in Colorado. Maybe a knuckleball pitcher or somebody that relies less on spin rate.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't know what that might be, but certainly somebody that's smarter than me data-wise would have figured that out by now, you would think.
Yeah.
But certainly no one has.
Is that the type of thing where it's almost like you have to go into the unquantifiable and be like, I just need to draft as many just smart fucking kids as I can.
Maybe, yeah.
Pitcher-wise. And obviously an elite defense, too, especially in the outfield. You just need guys who can cover ground out there.
You need very fast. I mean, Dexter Fowler had a great career in Colorado.
Yeah.
And oddly enough, when he left Colorado, obviously he went to St. Louis because they value that shit as well. I don't know where he is now.
The Angels, I believe.
Is he?
Yeah.
But yeah, I just don't. I mean, obviously on the defensive side, but before the defense can make a play, the pitcher has to throw the ball.
Right.
And he has to throw enough strikes to not walk people, but not such good strikes that they stay in the ballpark.
Yeah.
And Colorado's never been able to figure that out. They've had some people that have had good success. I can't remember that dude's name. It was like in the late 2000s, early 2010s.
Ubaldo Jimenez?
Yeah, Jimenez, yeah. He had a couple of great years there, but then he went to like Baltimore and then fucking completely lost it.
Ubaldo Jimenez and Jeff Francis are probably their top two fucking pitchers. I mean, they ruined Mike Hampton.
Oh, yeah. Although he did hit 10 home runs in a season there, I think. Right? Didn't he hit 10 home runs?
Yeah, I think that might be right. I'll just double check that. But he loved hitting. He was a really good hitting pitcher. I mean, really, like they might. Is it the type of thing where the Rockies have been trying to build their pitching the wrong way? Because like this was something I just thought of. Name a great Rockies catcher. Do you just maybe need a guy who is hyper attuned at calling a game?
I think you have to lean into it all the time. I don't know if the catcher pitcher thing. I don't know if you can overcome that. I think you need to have guys that are like WRC plus dudes that hit to the gaps a lot, probably, right, to win, because you have to
for hitters.
Yeah, but I don't know if there's a solution to the pitching situation.
Well, I mean, the solution would be a catcher. You would need like as good of a fucking rotation manager and pitching manager behind the plate, pitch caller as you could get. Like somebody who, I mean, it's fucking rough to say, but I mean, it would need to be like almost Melina Posey-esque, right? You would need to be doing, like you would need someone who's a great game caller, someone who is stealing strikes fucking constantly from framing or whatever. I mean, off the top of my head, I can't recall a good Rockies catcher. And if your pitchers are already of questionable talent, which they've never even had someone where you've looked at them and you've been like, man, well, if they weren't at Coors Field, you just see them and you're like, they're just not even that good.
Yeah.
Jerks and Profar up now, no outs in the bottom of the seventh, and he just walked to get on base. So Padres building a little more here.
Let's see.
The Rockies.
Joe Girardi was a catcher for the Rockies from 93 to 95.
Joe Girardi sucked.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, he was on their one playoff team in that era. I don't think they made the playoffs again in the 90s. Could be wrong about that. But, yeah. Oh, Hampton hit 7 home runs, by the way, for the Rockies.
In a year, yeah.
In 01, yeah.
Yeah.
Which.
That's a crazy amount. That's more hits than most pitchers get in a season.
7 home runs in.
Like 44 at-bats, maybe?
That's what I'm trying to look up.
Probably in the mid-40s, I would guess, for a starting pitcher.
7 home runs and 79 at-bats.
Oh, damn it. 79 at-bats is a lot.
Yeah. But he appeared in 43 games, so they were pinch hitting him, it looked like. Because he sure as shit didn't start 43 games.
Greg Zahn. I'm looking at all the catchers. Let's see. Eric Wedge was a catcher there in 93.
Taralba in 2006.
Miguel Ojeda, Greg Zahn. Nobody great.
So, actually, I'll do a deep dive on that before our next episode on just, were there any catchers in Colorado who were good game managers, good?
Sandy Alomar was there in 2002. Jonathan Lucroy spent 1 year there, but he's more of a good hitter than he is a good game manager. Scott Service was a good game manager, but he only played there 1 year as well.
Lucroy, I don't know how he is as a game manager or pitching manager, but he's
good at framing.
Yes, an elite framer, yeah.
Joe Girardi was there. Nick Hundley was there for like 2 years, but he was, again, more of a hitter than a fucking, I don't know, man. Not a lot. Charles Johnson from 03 to 04. Charles Johnson is one of the better receivers that has ever played catcher in Major League Baseball, to be honest.
That's
the black dude that played for the Marlins back in the day.
That is, though, late career Charles Johnson.
It was late career, and it was only for like a season and a half. I think he played like 220 games there. So, no, they've never had that. But, I mean, how many teams have had a great catcher for a long time?
You know who the number one, I want to say, like, wins above replacement in the 21st century is for catchers from a team?
It's not Molina?
Nope.
In the 21st century, maybe Brian McCann.
It's the Braves. No, I mean for a team.
Oh, for a team, yeah.
It's the Braves.
The Braves have had good, but the Braves were one of the first teams and still do it to this day. That he just stole the fuck out of that base. That was a stupid swing. You take that pitch, even if it's a strike, you're still in the same 0-2 count. Then you got to fucking run around second base and score. That was
he
stupid.
took that away. He took that stolen base away, which is great because I have Profar on my fucking team, fantasy team.
Thanks a lot, asshole.
Yeah, for fucking real.
Yeah, the Braves were one of the first teams, and they still do this now. I think it's just an organizational thing where they have, if a pitcher has his favorite catcher, then that guy gets a start every 4 to 5 days.
Yeah.
Whatever it happens to be. Like Eddie Perez caught for Maddox, right?
Yeah, and that would piss me off as a little kid, actually, because I'd be like, God damn it, Greg Maddux.
Where's Javi Lopez? I
Yeah.
need 27 to 30 home runs in my lineup right now, not Eddie fucking Perez.
Right. That was always that was the one part of watching a Greg Maddux start that would piss me off. Is you swapped out Javi Lopez's bat for Eddie Perez, and in the playoffs they wouldn't let him do that as much. There were some games where they're like, "I'm sorry, Greg, but Javi's got to fucking hit."
Javi Lopez is a very good baseball player. I don't know why they kept him at catcher that long. You would have
because we never had a first baseman in that era.
Yeah, one of the first basemen we did have in that era was Sid. Well, he's stolen anyways. One of the first basemen we did have in that era.
They also called a ball on a strike.
Yeah. One of the first basemen we did have in that era was Sid Bream, who's going to be on the show on Monday.
Yeah, I'm real excited for that. Sid Bream, if you don't remember, although if you're watching a baseball show, I don't know how you don't. Sid Bream is the guy who slid in one of the most famous playoff plays of all time, 92 against the Pirates in the NLCS.
Barry Bonds throws like a woman.
Barry Bonds throws like a woman, and Sid Bream runs like an old woman.
Yeah. An older woman than Barry Bonds throws like.
Right.
For sure, yeah.
It was one old lady's arm against another old lady's legs who decided to go to the World Series that year, decide the World Series.
Sid Bream is one of the slowest people in human history.
We got some breaking news.
Yep.
What's up?
The Mets have acquired veteran outfielder Cameron Maben from the Cubs for $1.
What? For $1 and what?
Just $1.
No, like player name later, or
Nope.
they're taking Maben.
Cash considerations, $1.
Yeah, that Cubs rebuild coming in hot.
Yeah.
Maben expected to be on the Mets roster by end of week.
Interesting.
Cameron Maben has put together a pretty long career for somebody that hasn't really. He's had like one good season, right?
He has, but he's always been an elite defender. Like he's even in years where you hear about like Mike Trout and other elite center fielders, Maben is maybe not anymore because it's obviously his returns have diminished less than they should have.
Yeah.
On his one, useful thing.
For a speed guy that's 34,
Yeah.
he's still a speed guy.
Yeah. And he's always, I think, like pretty much a top 5 kind of defender in the outfield and in center field and stuff like that. And you compare that to someone like, we talked about earlier, Dexter Fowler. Fowler kind of fell off a fucking cliff.
Yeah, he did. He had some. Well, I mean, look, he was one of those guys that learned how to hit in Colorado pretty well. He had a lot of triples. I think he led the league in triples 3 or 4 years there, 13, 14 triples a year in a lot of cases, which is a lot. Kept taking those same swings when he got to St. Louis, and it just doesn't work like that there. Those are outs.
He was with the Cubs before St. Louis, and he was pretty good with the Cubs. Yeah. He won the World Series with the Cubs.
Yeah, 16.
Yeah, and then went over to St. Louis the next year. And I remember St. Louis fans being a bit disgruntled that they got a player from the Cubs who then that was when he started to fall off. But yeah, Maben's always been an elite center fielder. He was with the Braves 1 or 2 years in the rebuild years, which was like, whatever. But no, Maben's always oddly he's kept that skill going pretty well. Yeah. But you're right. He did have 1 or 2 years where his bat was also valuable. I'm actually going to look this up real quick on Fangraphs because Maben did have a couple years, I think, where he put up some real decent wins above replacement numbers that were fueled by his defense, but.
Well, a lot of it, yeah. But he had 315 in 2016. He's had 2 10 home run seasons and 1 11 home run season, but he's also had 40 stolen base seasons and stuff. I mean, he's been used primarily in platoon roles. He's never played more than 147 games in his career.
Yeah.
And he's only played over 100 games in a season 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times out of the. He's been in the league 14 years. He's played over 100 games 5 times. So that's not a lot.
No. Not so much. But, whatever the fuck. Looks like the end of the inning here. San Diego couldn't cash in that stolen base. Oh, no, they're still up. I'm sorry. That was just a weird cutaway. So 1 out. Profar on second. Who is up now?
2011 with San Diego. Cameron Maben had a 4.4 wins above replacement. 1.9 of that was defense. 1.9. If you're getting close to 2 wins saved by your defense, those are pretty good numbers. That's all-star numbers.
Yeah. He, and honestly, like, he actually weirdly for the Yankees last year, or I'm sorry, 2 years ago in 2019, age 32 season, played in 82 games, played half a season. It's not nothing to sneeze at. 127 WRC plus. So I mean,
that's all-star. That's like prime all-star target. Anything over 120 is
you want that.
Pretty legit.
He's kind of, again, just to like get cliched to shit. I mean, he's a pro. Like, he's a pro. He knows how to play the fucking game. Never was able to put it together like fully in a way, but you know.
He's also probably a good dude because that happens as well in baseball, especially. If you see 2 guys that are fucking like 0.3 to 0.5 wins above replacement guys that are going to be platoon players on your team, and you just like one of them over the other, you're going to take the one you like, typically.
Nick Markakis.
Yeah. Nick Markakis, honestly, without shortened seasons and 2 major injuries he had, would have had 3,000 hits.
Yeah, he was real close. I have never.
I think he was like 220 away from 3,000.
It's rare that I have had such affection for such an underwhelming player to watch. He's not an underwhelming player. He had 2,300, almost 2,400 hits. Not an underwhelming player. Like, he is a good player, but in terms of like watching him, at no point are you getting hyped.
No,
So,
I mean he's
Musgrove's out. Tommy Pham is pinch hitting for Joe Musgrove.
I like Tommy Pham.
Yeah, that wasn't a bad pickup by the Padres. It was a lot of Cardinals fans were fucking pissed when they let him go to the Rays.
Yeah, he's one of those clubhouse guys, spark plug guys. He just plays. He's like Josh Harrison was for the Pirates all those years. He's like Craig Counsell, something like that. He's going to put up pretty good numbers, 260 to 280, that range typically. And it seems like the ball finds him when shit's on the line too, and he always makes the plays. But people don't value that in the front office typically.
I think there has been some. One thing I like about baseball, and it hasn't. It was kind of funny. I love reading baseball analytics and baseball journalism because it's a really good weather vane, hopefully, for how like regular politics goes and stuff like that, in terms of like trends and then pushback on the trends, and how people who were once like cutting edge then kind of become like defensive grumps. Like the way analytics got to the point where analytics people couldn't admit that there was some value to scouting and value to clubhouse shit and stuff like that. And that was the heyday of that was probably like 5 years ago, where they became the sort of illiberal.
They were the assholes sitting in Billy Bean's fucking clubhouse saying, "I've been doing this my whole life. We know what works." Like, you do in some ways, like, but honestly, the data's in the data. How many predictions have you made and how many have come true?
Right.
And for the most part, there's stuff that the data just won't track. You know what I mean? I mean, we've tried on a lot of this stuff, and that's why, shit.
There you go.
Yeah.
Pass ball. Profar on third.
Despite our best efforts, still, and Malcolm Gladwell said it when he was on the show a couple weeks ago, talking about the NFL draft, but the same lesson applies. You're not a fucking superhero. You can't predict the future, man.
Right.
And a lot of stuff goes into that. We do have a lot of data that we can analyze now. And to be honest, you can probably narrow it down farther than you could have in the past. But that still doesn't make you anywhere close to 100% accurate. But again, that's a good pitch.
Oh, God.
98 on the black, or I'm sorry, down the middle, but fucking a little bit low maybe.
Right at the bottom, at the black of his knees, right? At the bottom of his fucking knees.
Even with all that information, you still don't get it right a lot of the time, but why would you expect to? I mean, Hall of Fame in baseball means you get it right 3 out of 10 times.
Yeah.
So why would you expect to get it right that many times? And that's why baseball above other sports. I don't know how many. Well, look, there's no minor league for football.
Yeah, it's NCAA.
Yeah, but so I mean, baseball has NCAA baseball, which is pretty big as well. But there's like, what are there, like 700 some players in Major League Baseball, and there's like 4 times that many in the minor leagues.
Yeah.
The G League is pretty big now, but none of those leagues, other than maybe hockey, is even in the same ball, because hockey has AHL, then they have ECHL, they have IHL, which is independent from any of the teams. There's a lot of professional hockey players that aren't playing in the NHL. Even with the NHL, there's like double the amount of people playing baseball.
Yeah.
So it's a volume thing. I mean, you have to fucking run everybody out there, which means it puts, especially on these younger teams or newly assembled teams that are trying to figure shit out, it puts a lot of pressure on management, because baseball players, maybe above all else, are creatures of habit.
Yeah.
Right? They want to fucking experience the same shit all the time, and disruptions in their fucking patterns affect them on the field maybe more than any other sport. But if you've got a young or newly assembled team, you got to move people around and see, like, who would have ever expected a guy that plays the kind of game that Ronald Acuna plays would be the only place in the lineup he's going to have real success is in leadoff spot. Like, you wouldn't.
That's totally counterintuitive to everything except one.
He takes a lot of but that wasn't the case early in his career.
No, well, what I'm saying is
He wasn't very selective. Anyways.
The one analytical advantage is he just gets more at bats. So
but that's not why they do it.
Right.
They do it because that's where he performs the best. But there's nothing in his data. Now, today he's a lot more selective than he was 2 years ago for sure.
Yeah.
But they didn't start him lead off today. He's got 23 leadoff home runs in his career already, by the way. It was 2.5 years ago when he fully transitioned over to the fucking number 1 spot.
Yeah, it was in 2019, and they tried to be like, maybe we should do him 2 or 4, protect Freddie, and then eventually they were just like, nope, got to keep him.
Yeah. So, but nothing about his game at the time, because he was a pretty free swinger. I think he struck out like 180 times that year.
Yep.
And there was nothing on a piece of paper that would say this guy is going to succeed in the leadoff spot.
No.
But Ronald knew it, and he told Snitker, and he told the organization, and they were like, well, you're a power hitter, you're very dynamic, you make good contact and stuff, you got to be in one of these spots. That is a situation where only intuition and testing would help.
Yeah.
And I feel like baseball would do that more. There's 162 games in a year. That's a lot of fucking games.
A lot of times to get some data. Yeah.
I think they should. The problem I've seen with these teams is that they run out 3 or 4 different lineups in a week. I would set a lineup and run it out for 2-3 weeks at a time, then change it and see if there is, because you don't get enough data in 27 at bats.
No,
right?
That's
There's no
nothing.
way.
That's like in the football equivalent will be like, all right, well, we ran 2 series doing that, didn't work, so fuck it.
Right.
Who do we have in now? Looks like Craig Stammen pitching for the. God, they have a fucking good bullpen, and it really pisses me off.
Against Fuentes.
Yeah, number 6 hitter for the Rockies up. Still just 2-0 Padres. Good, decent crowd, by the way, for a Wednesday day game.
Yeah, especially in San Diego.
Yeah. It looks like I don't know what their capacity is at right now, but
Let's say about half.
Well, I just mean like what allowed capacity.
Yeah.
Cardinals are going back to full capacity in June. Braves are back at full capacity. Rangers are opened at full capacity. Everyone's kind of at this point like, we're good.
Here in Texas, I believe. One of the grounds crew is fucked up. What happened here?
That looks like an usher.
What happened here?
I really hope they're not broadcasting a heart attack.
No, he's grabbing his leg.
Yeah.
What, did he trip on something?
I don't know, man. This is like Saberhagen talking about, what's his fucking name? Was it Coleman? Getting fucked up in the tarp before the 85 World Series.
Yeah, he got rolled up on his ankle, right? Yeah.
Why is he there, though?
By the way, this is, I believe, the same company where the Elite or whatever, where the guy got caught beating off to San Diego Chargers cheerleaders on the sideline at a Chargers game a couple years ago? Do you remember that video?
Yes, I do. But I don't think this is what happened here. I think this guy just stepped on the lip of the grass and twisted his ankle or something. Although he's really milking it. Now get off the field, asshole. The game is being delayed because some fucking attendant
just went to commercial.
He's so close to the field too. What is he doing?
Yeah, I don't know. Get off the fucking field, man. There's no way we should be cutting to commercial because some attendant hurt his ankle.
Right. So we don't have audio, so we don't know exactly what's happening. But that is a security guard. Like that wasn't a grounds crew member.
Right.
No.
They're not a ball boy that should be by the baseline.
That was a secure. So was there like a streaker they didn't show? Because they won't show fans on the field.
They never do.
No. So was there a fan on the field and this guy like tried to run after him and he did this guy did a naked man actually break someone's ankle right now?
Maybe it was Jeff Galooly. That's a Tanya Harding reference.
That was I really enjoyed, by the way. I know everyone loves Sebastian Stan as Bucky Barnes, but he was a great Jeff Galooly, I thought.
I didn't see that.
You did not?
No, I couldn't bear to have them compare that woman to Tanya Harding.
So Margot Robbie that was her project or whatever, and she cast herself as the lead in it, as why wouldn't you? But my biggest complaint with that movie always is that like she was too pretty to play Tanya Harding. Like you needed like Jennifer Lawrence, who is also pretty, but you needed someone like Tanya Harding's whole thing was like people back in there were like she's too fat to be a fucking figure skater.
She's got the Hillary body, right?
She's got
super thick calves.
Yeah. She's got like a
big
little
angles, yeah.
redneck body. And so does Jennifer Lawrence. Not that that's bad or anything, but like Lawrence looks like a more convincing, and Lawrence has played rednecks before.
Yeah, it's more about, well, she is from Kentucky or some shit like that. But it's more about the body type than the face, for sure.
I think the face too, because Robbie doesn't even have a chubby face.
No, she's got like very angular jawline, but what's Charlize Theron played that in Monster.
Yeah,
they really uglied her up good. That's one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life.
Her in Monster,
just her face in Monster.
Yeah,
I've never seen the movie. I just saw her fucking face.
No, that was her real face, and they got her plastic surgery.
No.
Yeah.
No, that was probably appliances and makeup.
As a deep cut Arrested Development joke.
I'm not getting from season 3. That's when she was in what's.
He was like,
oh, she was ugly before.
She was rich, and her uncle was like, this wouldn't have been a problem a year ago. And they showed just a picture of her from Monster before the plastic surgery.
Right. They did do that. Yeah. She was retarded.
Yeah.
In that show, that was a weird thing.
Well, she was an MRF.
Yeah. For British eyes only.
A lot of people shit on that third season. I actually enjoyed it.
I liked it too. I don't know what the problem is.
They had actually the funniest joke, I think, of the entire show was in the third season, was when Tobias caught on fire and tried to jump in the pool to put himself out, but jumped on Job's invisible walkway in the pool. He was like, just, why am I not sinking? For the love of God. I
liked how his hair was draining all the life out of his body.
So fucking funny.
Yeah.
That third season... that a lot of people were like, I don't know, the third season went off the rails. Like, yeah, it did in the best possible way. Like they
actually had, if I'm not mistaken, well, in season 2 they had Henry Winkler jump a shark because that's when Buster lost his hand, right?
Yes, yeah, he jumped over the shark.
Yeah, which for those of you who don't know, the phrase "jump the shark" in reference to television is when particularly a network series does something crazy. For no reason because they feel like they've run out of content in that show.
Yeah.
And in Happy Days, it was the Fonz jumping his motorcycle over a shark tank for some reason.
It was he water skied over the shark. It was in the ocean.
Oh, yeah, water skied.
However, I understand why you might have confused it because he was still wearing his leather jacket.
Yes, yeah.
While water skiing.
Yeah. Musgrove just struck out his 12th guy.
No, that's Stammen's in there now.
Oh, I'm sorry, Stammen's is in. Yeah.
Stammen's in, just kind of put away him pretty quick. Yeah,
a lot of movement on that ball.
So,
although it was a strike when it started out, what's he waiting for?
Yeah, I mean, you got to defend the fucking plate.
That was a running fastball right there. It started on the outside corner and moved into the middle of the plate. He should have rocked that ball, but maybe he was looking for something else. Not a good idea to guess on. The 2 strikes.
I would say at least try to make contact with the fucking ball. All right, Stam is pitching to, and they're in the bottom of the order. So the Rockies will have, in the ninth, the Rockies will have Story and Blackmon and everybody up, presumably. But, yeah, man, they've seen pretty limp dick today. This is kind of like this is kind of like typical 2021 Rockies right here.
Yeah, they have literally no, except for Trevor Story.
Yeah.
No real offense to speak of.
Even Blackmon's hitting 230, and the fucked up thing is like, what you could have gotten for Charlie Blackmon in February versus what you get for him now.
Yeah.
Like, they're killing themselves.
This Ryan McMahon, their second baseman's having a pretty good year, but he's still only hitting 256.
They're a bad team. Like, you go to Coors Field to just get drunk, really, essentially.
Breathe that mountain air.
Yeah. They do have, Coors Field, I believe, has one of the better food situations in
Yeah,
Major
I
League
bet they
Baseball.
do. I got to go out there sometime soon. I think the first weekend of June, like the 6th and 7th or 5th and 6th or something. So I think we're going to go to a Rockies game while I'm there.
Will you wear a T-shirt that says "Not My All-Star Game"?
If it's red, yeah. If you make it red and it says MAGA on the back.
Yeah.
Just to see what happens.
Yeah.
I'll do that, yeah. But I think people expect me to look like that.
Yeah, they wouldn't. They'd be like, oh, "Fucking, of course."
Yeah. If I was wearing like a tweed sweater and talking about intersectionality, I think that would be more disturbing to people.
Like, no, this isn't right. Yeah, it's not about what you believe. It's just looking like what your belief should be. Essentially, that makes sense.
It's like the diet where you only eat food from the place that your ancestors came from.
Someone was pitching that to me the other day.
It's the dumbest shit I've ever heard.
They were like, "See, it was
These civilizations that we're referring back to are only like 1,000, 2,000 years old. That's not enough time. It's going to be 10,000 or more years.
right."
It took us 10,000 years for a majority of people to be able to digest milk. So I'm pretty sure it's going to take longer than fucking.
Although we were eating cheese from the get-go, we were all like Dan,
Yeah.
having Crohn's and eating cheese. I mean, like, cheese is almost as old as civilization.
Yeah.
We invented cheese probably like 500 years after beer. Someone was just some idiot. We talked about this on Softcore History before. Some idiot was just like, "Yeah, I'm gonna eat this rotten fucking milk real quick and see."
I've
how
always
it tastes."
wondered what went through the mind of the first person who drank milk from a cow was. Because now it seems normal, but back then it would have been like, "What are you doing out there, Doug?"
Was everything started by like morons?
Perverts.
Yeah,
Perverts,
perverts and morons. Do it, do it, fucking do it.
Or it was started by people who were the do it guy, the fucking mullet head
Yeah,
dumbass. Let's get out of here. This game is boring shit.
yeah. It's not a great game.
No.
Final thoughts, real quick. I wanted to ask you about. Let me look at the baseball doc real quick. Oh, real nice thing. Or actually, Pujols to the Dodgers. What do you think? That's the one other thing I want to say.
I mean, they're injured, and they need somebody to hit lefties, so I guess it makes sense. But
Yeah. Do you think how long do you think he stays with the Dodgers? Because it really might not be the whole fucking year.
I don't know. I honestly don't know what's going to happen there. I mean, look, if you look into some of his advanced analytics, it seems like he might have actually been having some bad luck, and he's not as weathered as it seemed like he was,
Yeah.
to be honest. So we'll see. He was still even before he left the Angels, I believe he was still on pace for like 28, somewhere between 28 and 32 home runs on the season, which is an all-star year, by the way.
Right.
We just expect so much out of this guy and he's also, I mean, look, great pitch right there. He's also in the last year of that big-ass 10-year contract
Well,
he signed.
the Angels are paying it now.
Yeah.
So like,
Well, I'm just saying he's not going to re-sign a contract like that again.
right.
So coming into the season, it's like, well, you're not going to get that kind of value out of him for sure, but you can get some value out of him.
Do you know what the Dodgers are paying him?
The league minimum probably.
Yep.
Prorated.
Yep. League minimum. And my guess is at this point, Albert will be happy to play for that.
I don't think he cares.
He doesn't.
Just want to play baseball.
He wants to
probably.
keep playing.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, you know, the Braves are finding success letting Pablo Sandoval's fat ass go pinch hit a couple times a week.
Yeah.
Why the fuck not?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I like that move for him. I honestly thought he was just going to go to the Cardinals and retire, but it seems like that's not the case.
Not yet. I think there's still time. I I would not be surprised either way if he finishes the season with the Dodgers or if they release him in like July. And then he finds another team to go be valuable on. The White Sox and Cardinals are two real good options for sure. And then any other injury-ravaged team that just wants to sell a few extra tickets.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's going to give up anything for him because why would you? But
you wouldn't need to at this point, yeah. But all right, cool. I just want to get your thoughts on Pujols. Thank you guys for watching and listening.
I'm streaking!
We don't have a security guy. It's just Dan and his weapons.
I'm not going to shoot somebody for taking their clothes off.
But that is
I've
true.
actively encouraged people to take their clothes off for years now. That would be a very off-brand for me.
That's fair. But yeah, thank you. Like and subscribe and all that fun shit. Thank you guys for watching. We'll be back next week. And sports is, I think I know the show tomorrow. Why not? But either way, watch and listen and all that fun shit. We'll catch you guys later. For Dan Hollaway, I'm Rob Fox. See you next time.